Hey everyone, Agnach here. Welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm bringing you an army that I have been using recently, and I'm surprised of how strong it is. After the nerf the Super Wizards had in the last update, if you can call it a nerf since they are still pretty strong, but that's beside the point. Since the nerf, I've been looking for new strong armies that I can use, and I came up with this using the Super Archers. It's a Zap Super Archer attack, so what you need is 10 Super Archers, 2 Super Wall Breakers, 5 Healers, 3 Witches, and a nice Golem and a normal Golem. The spells are 5 Zaps, a Quake, a Rage, a Jump, and a Poison, and in the CC you get donated 2 Yetis, a Val Kebab, and a Rage, and you can either use a Blimp or the Siege Barracks depending on which base you're hitting. So now I'll show you a few of my attacks from Legends and also a couple of attacks from my CWL with OneHive. So we're starting with the CWL attack, so I'm coming here against GPTI Durite, I think. And you start with the Warden Walk on the right hand side. Now on this occasion I brought 6 Zaps and 1 Quake, actually 5 Zaps and 2 Quakes. Basically you need 6 and 1 or 5 and 2 to be able to get rid of Expos and Scattershots. So that's why I changed the spells a little bit on this attack. The thing that I didn't bring on this occasion was a Poison, so the Super Archers can get rid of the Poison the CC nice and quick, so that's why I decided to just swap it. I put my Siege Barracks at 6 with my King. Now the Giant that I bring is also to tank, so I put the Giant down, then I put the 3 Witches, and then I set the Siege Barracks. That gives enough time for my Siege Barracks to start deploying everything, and if nothing hits the Siege Barracks, you will get a lot more value from it. You will get a few more Wizards from it. So now that I've created the funnel, everything is going in. I put the Jump there so that they can go into the other Scattershot, and the Eagle, the CC finally comes out. I place my last Rage in the center of the base. I've already used the one ability. I still have the Queen and RC ability, and this one came very close at the end. So we've got the Yetis that came out of the Siege Barracks. Now you can put Yetis, you can put Hulks, whatever really helps you, and it's better for you. Now the reason why I like this army, the Super Archers are actually quite tanky. If the healers are healing them, they don't die quickly. Like, it's actually pretty good. Like, it's not really tanky, but the point of this army, the reason why I bring the Golem and the Ice Golem, is so that they tank my Super Archers, and the Super Archer range is so long that it takes a long time for the defenses to actually hit your Super Archers. Now the only bad thing about this attack, as you saw at the beginning, I'm not sure if you noticed, but the time. It is quite a slow attack, and I've had quite a few time fails with it. Really high 90s, but I also get a lot of triples, so it really depends. I think maybe doing less time in the Warden Walk could help. Every time I use the Warden Walk, I always time fail with any army, so yeah, probably I need to take a little bit less time. So now we've got 4 seconds left. We've got those 2 buildings left. Now, is it going to be a triple or is it going to be a time fail? I've been talking about how many time falls I get, so let's see how it goes. The Archers are gonna hit it, and yep. First time I used this thing in CWL, and I ended up getting a 98% 2 stars. So now I had to redeem myself, and on our last war in the CWL, I brought it again. This time around with the normal 5 Zaps, 1 Quake, and the Poison. So I start with my Warden at 6 o'clock. Now with the Zaps, I'm gonna be able to get rid of the Infernal, a Bomb Tower, Cannon, and I'm gonna damage the Bomb Tower and the Cannon on the other side. The Warden is gonna be able to get rid of the Cannon and the Wiz Tower, creating a nice funnel. Now that the Cannon goes down, I put my Witches with the King on the right hand side. As you can see, I didn't bring a Giant. The reason why I didn't bring a Giant is because I was planning on using a Blimp all along. So unlike the previous hit that I used the Siege Barracks, on this one I wanted to use a Blimp. So I didn't need the Giant to tank, so I decided to get rid of the Giant, get rid of a couple of minor troops, and just bring an extra Witch. Now I've got all of my troops going in. The King has created the funnel on the right hand side. I put the Jump there so that everything goes into the center of the base, which is the only section of the base that has enclosed walls. Everything else, my Witches and Archers can just walk all over the place. Now the King is going to be killing the defending Royal Champ. I send my own Royal Champ. The Blimp manages to get all the way into the tank hole. And now the RC is just getting rid of everything else there. The queen and the super archers get rid of the scatter, and they continue going around the base. Now they're just going through walls. We still have a few healers, so hopefully they heal her back up. Now we only have one healer left. The queen takes a lot of damage. She goes down, but we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 super archers still alive. We came in with 10. So as I said, they do survive the entire raid. It's just amazing. Like if the healers do heal them and they don't get stuck with the warden, it's amazing. Now we've got, so those were my CWL attacks, and now I'm bringing you 3 Legend League attacks in very common bases. So this is a very common Legend League base. So I started my Warden Walk around 11, put the King and Witches on around 1, basically just to create the other side of the funnel, just make sure that nothing walks. And I want everything to go inside. I do have my super wall breakers just opening some of the walls there so that they go in, and I'm using the blimp on this one as well, so sending it from behind. That way when I use my warden ability, is just gonna like get everything within the warden ability except for the king. So my blimp gets all the way to the tank. I'll use the rage for the blimp, so for the yetis. And now if you want as well, if you're going to be using the blimp, you can just put a couple of yetis and 3 sneaky goblins. It really depends on how you attack, so you can just change it to whichever way you prefer. With me doing Legends League hits, and like not a lot of people have the sneaky goblins, and usually I want to get donated quite quickly, so because of that, that's why I use the 2 yetis Falcon Bug, which I find that it still works, but you still have to use a rage for that blimp if you want to get the tank hold down. Now if you brought the sneaky goblins, a lot of the time, if there's not a lot of damage around the tank hole, you might get away without using the rage there, and then you can use it elsewhere with your army. In this occasion, we brought the tank hole down. The king is beating through a wall now, getting rid of all of the buildings on the outside. The queen now, with the super archers that are still alive, I think it's like 3 of them, are just walking around the base, just getting rid of the garbage on the outside. There's only 1 archer tower left. We've got plenty of troops. We use the queen ability, that goes down, and we get a nice triple there against the BD Avengers. This is another very common Legends League base against warriors. So now what do I do here? So I think I'm putting the warden 12, yeah. So I put the warden at 12 just to create that side of the funnel. I use the zaps to get rid of the inferno. Now as I said before, to get rid of the scatter or an expo, you actually need 6 lightning spells and a quake, or 5 lightning spells and 2 quakes. So one of the major defenses that you can get rid of with 5 and 1 is the infernos, and what better to get rid of than a single inferno. The other 2 were multi, so I wanted to get rid of that. Also with the quake I can damage the eagle a little bit, and the warden is just going to create a beautiful funnel there at 12 o'clock. Then with the siege barracks on this occasion, witches and the king, I create the funnel at 3 o'clock, and now I can bring my golem and ice golem and the archers in from behind. Now very important with this deployment, you put the golem, the ice golem, the archer queen, and then you put the archers behind all of those tanks, and that way they're not going to be getting hit anytime soon, and they're going to be able to get rid of so many defenses, and their range is so huge that they can reach stuff that your archer queen can. And the archer queen has a range of I think 5 tiles. I'm not 100% sure what the range of the super archers is, but you can see it here. Like they were just going through so many tiles. That's the thing, like they target a building. Like in this occasion it was a building that was like 5 tiles away, but then the actual arrows, they continue flying. So I don't know if it's like 10 tiles, but it is a pretty long range. So if you find any big buildings like storages, and they're connecting in line to other defenses, you can just put your archers there, and the archers are going to be getting rid of the defenses from behind those storages, since they have quite a fair bit of HP, without the archers getting hit by the defense because they're out of their range. Now finally we've got these other very common Legend League base, and against Sohan 702. So I start with my Warden Walk at 3 o'clock. Now another thing, like you can start with a Queen Walk. If you're really good at Queen Walks, you can also do that and it works fine, but I usually prefer with this army using the Warden Walk. Just create that bit of a funnel a lot better, and I can tell where my Warden is gonna go because I'm gonna be pulling him with my troops. Now here the CC is at the bottom, so I put the pre-poison there, then I put the giant, the witches, siege barracks, and then I put the king. Obviously the witches, I wanted the skellies to tank the single inferno there so that it didn't target my king, and yeah, the giant basically just to tank, and I put the poison down just because I wanted to poison the troops before they came out of the CC. Now that everything is going in, I put the jump in there in the center of the base so that they go towards the first scatter and the last two expos that are still alive. And sadly, even though there's a trillion troops there, the single inferno always knows where my roller champion is, so it gets targeted and she goes down, but they do get rid of that single inferno. Now a lot of my super archers and the queen were at the eagle, and thankfully they're in the center of the base, so they're going to be able to go through a wall here and they're going to be able to reach the second scatter shot and the archer towers there. And once they get out of there, everything can be reached by the witches and the super archers on the outside. So over here the queen is still getting rid of some of the defenses. Now the golem and the axe golem, somehow they always survive the raid. I think that if they were properly tanking, they shouldn't be alive by now, but they're still alive and they're still intact pretty much. And yeah, and now they're beating through a wall. Probably that's why they survive raids so much, but that's alright. They can stay there hitting a wall while the rest of my army actually triples the base. So we've got the yetis, we've got some witches, and we do have the super archers, and no, the archer queen went down, so she's not alive anymore. But we continue. That one yeti there at 12 is just gonna be so OP, getting rid of the Tesla farm with the warden, and now it's just the buildings. Thankfully, due to the range, you can see the archers here hitting the wall, but they were able to get rid of some of the buildings on the outside, so it was perfect. Well, that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time with more Clash. See ya.